Disney slave. There's no way. There's no way someone is calling this shit Disney slave. Go on. Apparently, I'm chudmaxxing. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Square pants. Welcome back to episode 3 of AfterLoom. And I just want to thank you guys really quick before we get into this for all the support on the last episode and the TikToks and the subscribers and the likes. I just want to thank you guys so much. We're seeing some growth and it makes me very, very, very happy. So we got a lot to talk about this week. This is the fattest packet I've had out of all these episodes so far. And I got a whole lot to talk about. We're talking about Shadow Slave Volume 12. I finally caught up to the novel releases. I need to talk about Volume 13 predictions for the Fifth Nightmare. Finally making room for the Eminence in Shadow Season 1. I watched that about a month ago, and I am very excited to talk about that show, because man, did I have an experience watching that one, we can say. And we're going to talk about some Daemons of the Shadow Realm. It's not finished releasing yet, but I have been catching up over the past few days. I'm not fully caught up to where they are releasing, but I have been enjoying that a lot. More Red Rising, and then I started Lord of the Mysteries again, so we're going to talk about that. We got a few new things we're doing at the end of this episode. We're doing the review roulette, where we talk about a review, agree, disagree, or whatever, based on a review of things that I enjoy. Defend this take. It's a take that I have to make an argument for, so it could be either a bad thing that I disagree with or a thing I agree with, but I have to make a good argument for this take. And then again, Unhinged Questions, which was probably my favorite part from the last episode. So, all right, let's just jump into exactly what we're starting with today. And we're starting with the Eminence in Shadow Season 1. And man, did I have an experience watching this. I had no idea what to expect going in. I've heard it was like a funny one. And I also see a lot of people talking crap on it just because it's more of an unserious show. Like, I feel like a lot of people only like serious shows now, and like, if the world's gonna blow up, or like it's obviously the Eminence in Shadow is a lot more comedic and unserious than like ReZero or something like Vinland Saga, which I love. Vinland Saga, I like ReZero, you know, so I'm not saying anything is bad about that. I'm just saying we lack kind of a lot of the unserious shows more nowadays. And I personally really enjoyed this season 1. There obviously was a bunch of fan service, which is whatever. I love the main character Sid. Like, he's just straight Orvar. Like, I don't think bro has any personality other than Aura Farming. Like, like, he's just the shit off rip, doesn't give a fuck about shit, takes absolutely nothing serious, which is probably my favorite part about him, because it is a refreshing thing to watch after so much of these heavy hitting animes I have been watching. I was finishing 86, you know, like certain heavy stories like that, which are honestly my favorite animes. But sometimes it's nice to throw in a little funny, unserious vibe like this. I definitely think Sid is not an idiot. Bro is just a fucking genius in that little verse, just because he like somehow knows everything and has the best plan. Like, it doesn't even make sense how good of plans he comes up with, and what his story, and like what, it doesn't even make sense what he's doing. Like, if we're being honest, like I was literally just watching it like, fuck yeah. that was like, it didn't have to make sense for me, you know. Like, I was just very, very much enjoying it. I love how the world just keeps proving that his made up lore is just like correct. Like, he's just like manifesting everything into reality, which I think is so funny, because he literally should have no fucking idea what is going on, but that's fine. It's funny how he actually wants to be a background character, but then again, he just goes in straight aura forms and does the most main character shit you can literally think of. Like, he doesn't make no sense with that shit. I really like his fucking overpowered ass I am atomic and just blows some shit to smithereens. Like, on some crazy shit. Not even just like, oh, let me blow up this building. Bro's blowing up like a town. He's gonna do some like JJK shit. No, he's doing more. But man, season 1, I really did enjoy that season. It was such a fun watch. Not too serious, like I said. Like I just had it on while I was doing some laundry or some dishes or whatever. And it was just a laugh. Like I'd get a laugh out of it. I'd be like, damn, that was sick. The animation was well. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't the worst by far, like T-Bait. Yeah, I definitely think it deserves the hype it gets, and I am excited to start season 2 soon, but I am juggling a few ideas of what animes I do want to start next, because honestly, I was watching a lot of the isekai slops that were dropping this summer season, but I dropped most of them just because they're just, again, isekai slops, which is fine. Like I enjoy watching it for that, but it gets to a point where I get burned out of anime sometimes, and reading kind of takes over main thing I do. And yeah, I'm debating on starting Blue Lock or another season of Eminence and Shadow or another anime that I haven't really quite found yet, but I know I do want to start something to just put on when I do stuff, because right now I don't have much other than like Daemons of the Shadow Realm, which I'm going to catch up soon. I'm watching the weekly releases of like Black Torch, Mushoku Tensei, and a few other ones that I'm blanking out on right now. But yeah, so far I love the Eminence of Shadow. It was very funny to watch. Definitely gonna watch season 2 eventually. Now we're moving on to Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Probably like top 3 of my current dropping animes. I'd probably say I like Bleach and Black Torch a little more. But this story is definitely picking up, because in the beginning, when it was dropping in the previous anime season, I did think the story was taking a little long to get to, you know, like it was kind of slow pacing, like it was kind of just what's going on. It was a lot of world building, which is understandable. It's the beginning of a new show. But the story now is picking up. A lot of things are going crazy. And I literally stopped watching it for like weeks because the story was so slow at one point. And I was just like, oh, I got other things to watch. You know, I was watching Witch Hat Atelier, which I very much enjoyed. I was watching that, and it just got lost in the past. So I kind of forgot about it. And then I found it a couple days ago, binging it ever since. I'm very much enjoying this. There's some crazy shit going on right now. One of the things that's keeping me most locked in on it right now is obviously Yuru learning that the world is a lot bigger than the village. I like seeing him watch TV for the first time. He's like, what the fuck is that? I like seeing him see pictures for the first time. He thinks it's some weird painting. I'm like, bro, what the hell? I do like the twin, or Asa, I think her name is, yes. And then there is this op that's in the show right now, and he's got these 2 samurai swords. That's his Daemons, and that shit is crazy. I really like the idea of the Daemons. Like, I think it's so cool. I love Yuru's Daemons, left and right, I think their names are. They are very sick to watch. Very cool character designs. I love how it drops in dub weekly, because I'll watch sub, but it has to be really good show for me to watch sub. I think the only 2 shows, I think I'm watching Bleach and sub right now. A couple other ones. But I don't know. So I would prefer a dub, but I'll watch a sub if I need to. Am I sold on Yuru as the main character yet? Yeah, I am. I actually do. I do like how he's very, like, how do I say this? Like, he's from an indigenous tribe, and he comes to modern civilization, and he just still lives like that. He's like ready to slime someone out right away if they do him wrong or some shit. And this freaking side character's like, no, you cannot be doing that shit out in the city, bro. Like, this is a different world we be living in. There's police. There's a lot of other things you need to pay attention to. There's rules. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I can kill this bird right now. I can grab this fish. It says no fishing. I don't give a fuck. I will just use my hand. Like, bro, that's not what it means. But the Daemons themselves are probably my favorite part of this. I do, other than the main character, and his sister and trying to find their parents. I think that is probably my favorite part. And then it's the Daemons, because it is a cool thing. It kind of reminds me of Death Note Shinigami or Shikigami or whatever they're called. Very sick. I do like how different each person's Daemons can be. You don't know what they're gonna be. It just brings an element of surprise in almost like every new character that gets introduced, because it's like, what is his Daemon? I want to know about that one. Is Daemon one of the actual sleepers of the anime season? I wouldn't necessarily call this one a sleeper. I don't see much people talking about it, but I do see a lot of like random people talking about it. Like Phase Adapt. I know he's into anime a lot now, so he's not really a random person, but he's been talking about Daemons of the Shadow Realm. He's also talking about Black Torch, which he said he's going to watch on stream, which is sick. I see a lot of like random people who don't necessarily watch like tons of anime, you know, like they're not like, they never watched an isekai slot before, but they be watching Daemons of the Shadow Realm. I think it's because of the credibility that the author has from Full Metal, but totally agree. Daemons of the Shadow Realm is a very popular anime this season, and I understand why. It's a really good show, and it's one of my favorites that is currently dropping right now. I think I've said that 4 fucking times. Bro, I was watching, there's so much isekai slop I was watching in the beginning of this season. I had like 4 different shows. I still need to catch up on one of these romances. I think it was like The Love Under the Sky. That one I really enjoyed, but I haven't watched in a couple weeks. I need to catch up to that one because that was probably my favorite. It's not an isekai slop, but it's a romance, and it was just a random one I clicked and watched, and I was really enjoying it. All right, that is it for this week's What I've Watched. Honestly, because reading really took over my week this past week. I was very locked in on catching up to Shadow Slave, which I did, and then Red Rising has had me booked. Like, I've been locked in on Red Rising unbelievably. The story is getting crazy. I think the last episode I read only 9 chapters, and now I'm on like 23 or 24 or something like that, and that's a lot for me. I know there's a lot of people that are like a lot faster readers, but I take my time. I really enjoy it. And we're going to jump straight into the reading segment. We're talking about Shadow Slave Volume 12. And there is a lot to talk about with this one. And man, it's getting cooked on. There's so much controversy going around about this volume, which a lot of it is true. I'm not going to deny it. You know, I'm not just some Shadow Slave glazer that'll just glaze every single thing about the story. Although I do really love the story and disagree with a lot of people's opinions on it, I definitely think Volume 12 was a bit lackluster. The pacing was crazy. The time skips were kind of absurd. The fourth nightmare for Effie, Jet, and them were like so jumping around. Like, I remember when Sunny and Nephis were in the underground, there's a fat chunk of time where they didn't even mention like the other people in the fourth nightmare. And I was like, I wonder what the fuck is going on with them. But literally while I was reading it, I was like, I wonder what's going on with them. Like, are they good? Like, is anyone dead? Like, I had no idea. A lot of people were a lot of people were mad that Effie didn't get slimed out. But I disagree, because I don't want to see any of my characters get slimed out. I do like Effie. A lot of people hate Effie. There's a lot of people that hate a lot of weird characters for me. I don't know why. I think it might just be like I don't know why they hate him. A lot of people hate Cassie, which they do have a weird reasoning. I do feel like she made up for it, but that's just me. The Volume 12 pacing did feel rushed to me, but I do think that was the point, because G3 did put in his Discord that the Volume 12 was just him trying to tie up some loose ends, fill up a couple backstories or whatever, and then like progress to a certain point so where he can start this next nightmare. And that's what he said in the Discord, which is cool, you know? Like, I think a lot of people expected this to not be that, but I think this is what G3 wanted to do, was like tie up a couple story, like side little ideas that he had, you know, get Nephis to grieve about her dad out of the way and stuff, and little things like that. Sunny gets slimed the fuck out. One shot sniped, bro. Crazy. But I definitely think it was very fast, rushed pacing. The fourth nightmare was very rushed. Like, there wasn't that many parts that I even remember thinking back now. All I remember is, like, they were hitting up some biological warfare, which was absolutely crazy, but it didn't give him, G3 didn't write it to give, like, a wow factor, you know, like, it just was very mentioned and then gone. I wish there was a bit more of, like, a wow factor in their nightmares, because there was some cool fights, you know, there was a little bit of, like, consequences to their actions, and, like, they were getting fucked up for a little bit, you know, but I definitely think it could have been a little better. I just think G3 wanted to get that over with so he can get to a point and hopefully lock in for volume 13, because that's what it's sounding like from what I've read. Fandom was literally calling it Summary Slave. That's a bit crazy. But for volume 12, I'm not going to disagree on that, just because obviously it was a bit more fast paced. I don't think volume 12 is going to be like anyone's favorite volume of Shadow Slave, like nowhere near it. But Sunny, it was kind of crazy. Like when Sunny got slimed out, or his seventh shadow did, bam, got slimed out just by the unholy creature or whatever looking at him and pointing at him. I was like, oh fuck, he just lost a shadow. What's gonna happen? Like, oh my god, this is such a big thing. But then like 4 chapters later, he's like, I could just build my other one, which is sick. Like, I'm not hating on it. I do think it's cool. I love how Sunny is that goated that he can just, you know, build another shadow or shade when he needs to, like that. And I think I was just expecting more of, like, I was expecting it to be a bigger deal, you know, like it kind of just got brushed over in such a quick way. If I had to say, that might be like my only gripe about this whole volume that really kind of irked me, was just the fact that he got it so quickly. It kind of made it seem not as big of a deal, you know, like it made it like if Sunny dies in the future, like I don't know if I'm going to be like, oh shit, you know, like he might just be able to murk everything off in his soul sea and then build them up again and be fine. But obviously that's not, he can't do that an unlimited amount of times because he only has so much creatures in his soul sea, you know. The fourth nightmare, did it deserve its own full arc? I don't know if I would necessarily say it deserves its own full arc. I mean, kind of, yeah. I wouldn't say it deserves like its own volume. That's what I read that as at first. I thought it was saying a volume, but I mean, a small arc, you know, like at least dive into it a lot deeper. Like it, instead of just touching on it here and there in between like 4 other things you're juggling, you know. It just felt very brushed over. Cause literally thinking back right now, it's like, what did they even do? They took the poison, the girl refurbished it, made it better, stronger, and then Effie took it back, and that they got slimed out. They stopped the river. It was sketchy. They didn't know how they're gonna do it. Effie was getting fucking slapped around. Jet did the thing. She went back and murked out the caravan or whatever. It was sick. Like there's a lot of cool things that happen. I'm not saying that like the premise and the idea of the nightmare was bad. I'm saying that it could have been a little more fleshed out. I definitely think that. It was a lot to read that, like I honestly don't even remember these, but 6 new Supremes came out of the fourth nightmare, and the powers they got brushed over really quickly for me. I don't really remember the exact powers that everyone did get. Morgan, Seishin, Nightwalker, Effie, Kai, and Jet all got, you know, domains now. I can't think of one domain. I can't other than Effie. I remember Effie's little like island or whatever she could take people to or whatever. I just don't think, again, it's not fleshed out enough, which I wish it was. A very cool payoff. I love how they all are supreme now. They all have their own domains. I love that for the cohort. It's like what I wanted for so long, you know, but it just got glazed over so quickly. And yeah, did the underworld live up to all the hype it built up? It definitely did seem sketchy. I did like Saint battling the other, you know, stone statues or whatever. It was very sick those fights were cool. Saint getting her own shades, that's super sick. I really like that. I actually really like that. That's probably my favorite part of the volume, actually, is parts in the underworld where Nephis gets to talk to her father, say your nightmare is over. That's probably my favorite part of the whole volume. Sunny getting slimed out again, that's sick. Like, I really was shocked when that happened, but then again, right after, he was just like, I'm gonna get my next shadow back. All the fights down there were honestly cool to me. I'm not really a fan of like dragged out fight chapters. I do like the fights being explained well, but I kind of prefer a little bit faster pacing when it comes to long fights. So I wasn't really hating on that, you know? Like the Dark Sunny and Dark Nephis fight was super sick to me. I love the idea of them fighting themselves, but then they eventually catch on that their images of themselves are only limited and not the full images of themselves because the whatever couldn't fully replicate him because he doesn't fully know them or whatever. Super sick. That was probably my favorite fight out of the whole underworld. Sunny finally got his shadow weave. It kind of does. Sunny finally getting shadow weave from Broken Sword. I do think Broken Sword kind of knew a lot more than people kind of led him up to. Like, I think he definitely knew some shit that was going on. Did Sunny's death actually shock you, or did you know Sunny would find a loophole? Again, the loophole he found kind of feels a little bit cheap, but at the same time, it doesn't. It feels cheap looking back on it now, but when I was reading it, I was like, damn, that's tough, like in the moment. But looking back on it now, I'm definitely a bit more skeptical and like, yeah, that could have been played out a little longer. I had the same issue in Spider-Man, Brand New Day. Spoiler for Spider-Man, skip like 15 seconds if you haven't seen it. But when he got sniped and like people thought he was gonna die, I was like, oh my god, he's dead. But then right away they're like, nah, he's good. And that's kind of like something I do wish they pulled on my heartstrings a little longer, you know, like keep it, be like, damn, I can't believe like he's dead, or I can't believe Sunny's shadow is like, he's got 6 shadows now, he's had 7 for the longest. What's gonna happen? What's he gonna do? Is this a big thing? I do like that kind of feeling in some stories, and it just felt very, you know, quick. You missed the smaller character conversations from earlier Shadow Slave. I really do, honestly. I kind of do. Like Sunny and his old teacher was like some of my favorite slice of life parts from the beginning. You know, Sunny and Jet before they got really close. Like just kind of random conversations he'd have with people were super sick. I do kind of miss when Sunny didn't really know how to control his flaw, like work around his flaw. When he was just like, yeah, Jet, you got some nice boobs. Like, pretty much what he was saying, bro. I was like, dude, you are so dumb. Like, it brought a very funny edginess to it. But the verdict for volume 12 for me is that it was definitely paced. I think it was planned to be it was definitely fast. I think it was planned to be very fast. I think this is exactly what G3 wanted, to just zoom over that so he can get towards the ending. I think he wants to wrap up the story pretty soon, and the 5th nightmare, you know, is about to go crazy. I hope it's not fast paced like this. I hope he doesn't glaze over a lot of things. But a lot of people said that he did too fast a pacing and glazed over a lot of things in volume 11, which I disagree on that. Volume 11 is one of my favorite Shadow Slave volumes, and I just think there's a fine line between like good fast pacing and then like glazing over stuff and then too slow of a pacing. So I don't think it's possible to make every person in the fandom happy with how he does it, but I'm not that hard to please. Like volume 12 wasn't like, I wasn't reading it like, oh, this is bullshit, you know, like I enjoyed it while I was reading it, but looking back now, I do understand some of the criticisms, and I totally agree with most of the criticisms on volume 12, but I still enjoy Shadowslave as a whole. That's not going to make me be like, Shadowslave is ass. Like there's a lot of people in my comment section on TikTok saying Shadowslave sucks. Shadowslave fell off after the third nightmare, blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. No, it didn't. Shadowslave is peak. Just because it has really high highs in the beginning doesn't mean that the not as high parts later on are terrible. You know, like they're good. They're really good. Some of them are really, really good. But just because it's not Forgotten Shore or, you know, the next peak for you, it's like, it doesn't make it terrible. You don't have to just go around spreading hate about it all over social media. Yeah, that moves us on to volume 13 predictions from Shadowslave. You know, this one, it's a bit struggle for me. I'm not really good at making predictions. I'm not the type to be like, oh, I think this is going to happen, because honestly, I have no idea where G3 can take this. But I do have a couple things written down right here that might be, and let me know down in the comments if you have some predictions or what you think is going to happen in volume 13, because I'm very excited for this. It's going to be my first volume that I'm reading weekly. A lot of people hate reading weekly and want to just like binge it, but I'm very excited to read weekly because I can also read some other things in between. The main setting, where do you think the fifth nightmare is going to take them? This is a tough one. We could, like, there's been a lot of talks about the Doom War, the War of the Gods, you know, like, I think that would be cool to go to. That's been talked about so much, like, throughout the whole series. That would be super sick. Multiple realms would be crazy. If people get sent to different realms, like everyone that goes in gets sent to a different place, that would be bonkers. I don't think that will happen, but that would absolutely be fucking crazy. I would say, I don't know. I'm not going to get behind one of these answers. I'm just going to say it would be cool if they did go to the Doom War or the Sun Realm to see what the Sun Killer era, you know, that would be super sick. Ariel's Hell, just something sick, you know. Sunny's definitely gonna spawn in some water. I think I want to stand behind that. I want Sunny to spawn in some water. I think that's a running thing now. I need it to be continued. Sunny needs to be damn near drowning when this next nightmare starts. Okay. The group, do Sunny, Nephis, Cassie, and Mordred get separated? I do think they might get separated. It might be like some, like 2 and then 2, you know, or whatever and whatever. I don't know what I would prefer. Honestly, I might prefer them all to be separated and they find each other, just like the third nightmare, I think it was. I think it was in a couple nightmares. It was like that. I would like that a lot, personally, just because it gives us some Sunny solo time, you know, that's always fun. And then maybe he can get some side character perspectives, which G3 doesn't do much, but that would be super cool. What happens with Mordred? God, he becomes this is a multiple choice right here. What do you think is going to happen with Mordred? He becomes one of the MVPs, a huge aspect legacy reveal. Jesus, aspect legacy reveal. He betrays everybody again. Wouldn't be surprised, but he's different now. He's a different man now. He sacrifices himself. That could be a crazy one. Or this bastard survives completely fine again. I think he's gonna. I don't see him. I don't know why. Maybe it's just based off all of the past things that he has done, but I cannot see him sacrificing himself for the rest of the cohort. I do think he wants to live. I think that's one of his main things. I don't think I can see him betraying everybody again, because, you know, he's always been like a little snake, but he's always logical. Like, I kind of need them to get out of this. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, he's not He's not the worst. Is he gonna get any on-screen feats this nightmare? Who knows? I don't. It would be so funny if he just doesn't do shit again all nightmare and just like continues to be mid. Although he is like some people's favorite characters. I love Mordred. He's definitely a great aspect to this story. I think he just becomes. I think we might get a. This one's so hard because he can go in so many directions based off like him being a full person now, you know? It would be crazy if he sacrificed himself. Like, I can't even picture that in a million fucking years, just him sacrificing himself. Like, what? I think he's going to survive. I think he's going to help the cohort, but I don't think he's going to be the MVP. I think he's just going to be in there. Maybe get an aspect legacy reveal or something. Maybe not. Biggest Sunny and Nephis relationship development. Oh, what if they break up? No, I'm joking. Imagine they actually broke up. I don't think that's going to happen in all of Shadow Slave, or I'm praying it doesn't happen, because for the longest time, I was wanting them to just get together, and it took like thousands of chapters for me to get that. So I definitely don't want them to break up. I don't think there's going to be a proposal in the nightmare. That's kind of crazy. Like, in the midst of some crazy ass shit, just be like, yo, can you marry me? That would be pretty crazy. Maybe we get an I love you from Neth. Maybe. That would be cool. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. I would want an I love you. I would be very happy with that, you know. I don't even think she has said it unless I've skipped over it and I'm just brain farting right now. I would love that. G3 trolls everyone, nothing major happens. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening too. Biggest lore payoff I think is going to happen in volume 13. Maybe a huge Weaver and Forgotten God reveal, you know? That could be crazy. Could be working with something here. Major Shadow God revelation. More about the 9. There's a lot of things that could happen. I'm so here for it. I'm so like nervous because there's so much hate going around for Shadow Slave. I just want it to be so good. Do they become sacred? Fuck, if someone dies, bro. Do they become sacred? I think Sunny and Nephis are definitely going to become sacred 100%. I mean, obviously, if everyone survives, they're going to become sacred. So, if they do survive, I would say all of them, obviously. But, I mean, like, I can see Sunny, Nephis, and Mordred, and then the other one gets slimed, you know what I'm saying? Oh, no, Cassie's in there, bro. If Cassie gets slimed, I'm going to be down bad, bro. Oh, fuck. Yeah, major death. Do you think there's going to be a major death in Volume 13? Mordred, Cassie, major character outside of the 4. Nobody major dies. Somebody dies, comes back, and G3 ruins our week anyway. There hasn't been a major death, so there might be. You know? Like, there's been some crazy shit that's happened, but like a major death, I could see it, you know, but I don't want to see it. If that makes sense. What does the world look like to you when they come back? Humanity is hanging on by a thread. No, definitely not. There's a lot of Supremes that aren't going into this. Rain / the outside cast leveled up massively. I could see that. I'm here for a Rain upgrade. You know, Rain's one of my goats. A new major power arose while they were gone. That would be bonkers. I would fucking lose my shit if they have to come out to another war type of vibe, which would be crazy. I'm kind of overseeing these fucking wars in the verse, bro. Like, they're obviously the kings, but man, ooh, if Asterion came out, that would be bonkers. We got a lot of things that can happen, you know. Pick one prediction you are willing to get clowned for. Smile of Heaven appears. I would be down. I think that would actually be down. Mordred dies. Ooh, Sunny and Nephis get engaged. Cassie pulls another long game move. That's probably gonna be true. Knowing Cassie. They directly encounter a major ancient divine being. I want to get behind either Mordred dying or Smile of Heaven appears. I would be down to see some of Nephis' mom. I feel like she's been just sitting there for so long, and like there's so much potential there. I don't know if G3 is going to take that potential and do something with it, or he's just going to, let her be the vegetable. All right, those are my predictions for volume 13 of Shadow Slave. I am so excited. So excited for that. I think that starts next week. Shadow Slave manhwa drops today when I'm recording this, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to talk about it in this week's episode, but I will have next week's episode up talking about it, going crazy. Moving on to Red Rising, we got chapters 9 through 23. This has taken over my life. I'm trying to get my fiance to start reading it alongside me. I think I have convinced her, so I'm very excited about that. Just this whole setup, the world, the characters, just the premise. Like, I'm so hyped to see how this plays out and how Darrow can get through this academy, move on and do the bigger and better things that he wants to do against these people for what they've done to him and his people. So excited. Did chapter 9 completely change the way you thought this book was going to go? Yes. I had no really expectations going into this book, but I fucking had no idea this was going to be it, like when EO sang the song, Sat got murked, and then he got murked, but he came back. I was like, oh shit, like we doing some shit. And then they start turning him into a gold. I had no idea they were going to start doing bro like he's a fucking cyborg or some fucking cyberpunk motherfucker. Like, just completely change him as a person. His hair, his eyes, his muscles, his skin, like everything about him. Completely run him through a boot camp to make him be able to act like a gold. Like, this is gold in my mind. This is how I'm reading it. Like, I was wanting to read it last night, but I already wrote like the script down for this episode. So I was like, I don't want to read past the script, so I don't talk about anything that's not past, chapter 23. So I'm probably going to read it right after I get off of this. One of my favorite things so far is just how he's like in this school now. He's meeting these characters like Cassius. I'm so curious about Cassius because I've heard a TikTok audio with his name, and like I'm just like, oh my god, does he become the biggest op when he finds out that Darrow slimed out his brother? Oh my god, that scene of Darrow sliming out his brother was so like heart-wrenching. Like, he did not want to do that shit, but he fucking had to, like, what do you expect him to do in there? Like, that was so tough to watch. And then he was like begging, he was like, please no. I was like, dude, that shit was so good, bro. Was Darrow getting remade into a gold cool, horrifying, or both? That shit was sick as fuck. It's crazy that they're doing that. Like I'm loving this story. I loved the person that was Mickey that turned him into the gold, I think that was him. Super funny. I love that whole scene there, or scenario he was in with like the angels that he made or whatever, and he was like, you better keep her safe. And then eventually that she left that place and they took her, and Dancer took her in or whatever. That shit was tough. Yeah, Mickey was the one that rebuilt, bro. I thought the training to be a gold was super cool. I feel like it's super hard to train someone to just literally change the way that they think and speak like that, especially because it's such a drastic change, Like, I could never be able to do that shit. The draft was crazy. It was super sick to watch. I thought Darrow was going to be nice with it, but like, he's like nice with it. Like, they turned him into like a top tier gold. I love how he crushed the entrance test. He crushed that test so hard they had to fly to his crib, and they'd be like, yo, were you fucking cheating, bro? He's like, nah, gang, I wasn't cheating. The fuck are you talking about? I'm just himmy. That shit was super sick. Did the killing of Julian change how you see Darrow? No. Is that a hot take? Like, it did not. It didn't change that for me because he got thrown into that situation. He didn't want to do it, but he has to do it. Like, I mean, everyone has their own mission in life, so it's not like his mission is better than another person's mission. But in this situation, he's trying to free his enslaved people. Like, he's gonna have to do some fucked up shit to be able to get in a position to fix it, you know? Like, there's been some fucked up shit happening to his people, so why is it only okay if the Golds do it to them and not him doing it to them? Unfortunately, Julian was just a pawn, unfortunately, because Julian was a cool character. I really liked him, you know? Darrow does carry guilt for that too, so it's not like he just did it and was like, all right, whatever. Oh, yeah, move on. You know, like he's got some guilt about it. And so does his brother, Cassius. Like, Darrow hears him crying at night and stuff. Like, it's gonna be crazy when Cassius finds out that it was Darrow, if he ever does. That's gonna be bonkers to watch. Do you finally understand why people are comparing this book to Hunger Games? I definitely do. I definitely think it's very different as well. Because when I heard that people were comparing it to Hunger Games, I was expecting like the Hunger Games, you know, like just another version. Like someone flies in and they have to do like when I read that there was golds and colors and reds and you know whatever. I was expecting like the Golds to get drafted into a Hunger Games type of game or whatever where they have to survive. Obviously be a little different, not just a straight copy of it. But I was expecting a lot more, you know, comparison. But there is a lot of comparison. I was just expecting more. So I'm not saying it's nothing like that. You know, the 12 houses, capture other students with house standards, win territory. It's very Hunger Games-like, but I very much enjoy it, and it's different enough for me to not just be like, oh, Hunger Games, you know, while I'm reading it. Okay, this is my GOAT right here. Severo is actually one of my favorite parts of this whole story right now because he brings a lot of humor into it, and he's just like, fuck you. Like, he just be talking his shit and not giving a single fuck, which is, I love. I hope he stays in this story. And he's gonna be my GOAT for a long time, probably. When did you realize Severo might actually be him? I realized that right away when he was talking shit. Severo becomes a fan favorite largely because everyone underestimates him. Yeah, I can definitely see that. He just sits in the corner, talks fucking shit, and then slimes. That's crazy. Showed up with the wolf, you know. He kind of operates on his own timing. He's not really like a follower. Like he's down to just go do some shit for himself and come back, you know, which I fuck with. I like how he knows a lot more about what's actually going on than he kind of lets on. Like he kind of just acts like he's just like there, you know, like he doesn't act like, for example, Cassius acts like he's the shit, you know, like he's like him, he knows everything. But Severo, he's taking a different approach. I think he might be, I don't know where he's gonna go. I hope him and Darrow never become ops. That would fucking suck, because I really do like Severo. Whose side would you have trusted in chapter 23? Fuck. I'm biased because I know the pre-story, bro. Give me Darrow. Fuck is you talking about? Give me Darrow, bruh. House Mars imploding into factions is where is... Yeah, Darrow and Cassius mostly gather low drafts. Ooh, Severo is basically his own faction. I could link up with Severo. That'd be fire. Titus pulls violent high mid drafts. I would not go with Titus, bro. I don't know what's up with that guy, but I do not fuck with that guy. Like, he's like a violent, like, dictator type of vibe, I feel like, and I'm not really fucking with that. I'm not fucking with that. Chapter 3 lock-in. What do you think becomes Darrow's biggest problem next? Titus, Cassius finding out about Julian, the other houses, Darrow forgetting who he actually is, something I haven't even met yet. Ooh, I think it's going to become a problem when Cassius finds out about Julian. I don't know, though, because Cassius is very, like, about what he does. He's like, yeah, I gotta do this. But I mean, obviously he has emotions that he hides because he's crying at night, you know? So I do think that could be a problem. I think Titus is going to be a bigger problem first, because Titus is going to want power, and I don't think Titus is going to get power. Moving on to Lord of the Mysteries Volume 3. I picked this up after I finished Shadowslave, and Shadowslave left a gaping hole in my chest that I needed to fill, because I had like a half a week where I wasn't listening. I like to listen to web novels mostly, and then I'll read it if I have time, but like I'll listen while I'm doing laundry. I'll listen mainly while I'm driving to and from work. Sometimes even at work, I'll be listening to the web novels. That's probably my favorite part about them. And not having one that I really like was tough. It was like I was depressed. I was like, what the fuck is going on? My girl's like, why are you banging Screamo so much? I was like, fuck. Shadowslave is gone. But now I'm back to Lord of Mysteries, which is actually the first web novel I actually ever started. Behind me, right there, I got the 3 physical editions of Lord of the Mysteries. That's Volume 1. I finished Volume 2, and then I picked up Shadowslave on Volume 1. And absolutely binged the fucking shit out of that. And now I'm back to Lord of the Mysteries. I'm on Volume 3. It's taken me a minute to kind of get back into the world, you know, remember everything that was going on at the end of Volume 2. I do know mainly like most of the stuff, but it's taken me a little bit to, you know, get back into the world. So I wouldn't say it felt easy coming back into the world, although I do remember a lot, because Lord of the Mysteries is probably one of my top 3 stories of all time. Like, the anime, a lot of people hated on it. I fucking loved the anime. I go back and rewatch it. That's the only anime I've ever went back and rewatched some episodes. So I'm very excited to relock back in on this, and I will definitely be talking about that from here on out as well. What is one thing already making you curious about Volume 3? German Sparrow, his new identity, is going out to sail right now, and he's meeting some new characters. I don't know their names off the top of my head, but I'm very excited to see where they go. I'm excited to see if he runs into Alger on the sea. That would be fucking crazy. German Sparrow and Alger out there on the sea. Prediction? I don't know. That would be crazy though. The Tarot Club is back in full action for me. I love all the Tarot members. You know, we just got the vampire dude. What's his name? Oh, I'm forgetting his name. That's pissing me off. I'm forgetting his name. But we just got the Emmeline White. We just got Emmeline on the Tarot Club, and then, you know, we still got Sun, Alger, Justice, Fours, you know, like all the goats, all my favorites. I love the Tarot Club. I'm so excited that I'm back into this world. What do I think Volume 3 is going to focus on most? Definitely a lot of building German Sparrow's identity up, traveling around the world, the Tarot Club growing, you know. Is there going to be more Aemon? I don't know. There's snippets of Aemon in the previous chapter. Bro almost came into the Grey Fog. He's the only person I've ever seen almost come into the Grey Fog, or even try to get close to fucking with the Grey Fog, which is crazy. So I'm very excited to see if there's going to be some more stuff on Aemon. I'm excited to see him traveling the seas, you know. I heard this is a very, the humor kind of comes out in this volume a lot. So I'm very excited to see how that works. But that is the end of the reading segment. Quick tangent before we go on. Apparently, I'm chudmaxxing. I don't even know. I literally wrote this down. I was like, quick tangent, chudmaxxing. I don't know what that is. I got called. Someone told me on my comment section that I'm chudmaxxing because I said I wasn't enjoying ReZero that much. What does that mean? Can someone tell me what that fucking means? I have no idea what that means, but it doesn't sound good. All right. All right. This is where stuff starts getting a little fun. Review Roulette. Okay? We're going to read some 1-star to 5-star reviews on certain things I love. I'm going to agree, let him cook, or he's talking out of his fucking ass. Okay? So this is going to be the first one. This is a review of Shadow Slave Volume 12. Okay? Why did G3 summarize the fourth nightmare? It could have been one of the highlights of the story. Ooh, the verdict is, I agree. This is one of the first reviews I actually agree with, you know? It did feel so glazed over. I talked about this earlier in the episode. It felt crazy. So, moving on to the second review, Shadow Slave. Disney Slave. There's no way someone is calling this shit Disney Slave. Disney Slave criticism. Forgotten Shore had the real risk, suffering, trauma, communication, and consequences. Recent Shadow Slave feels too safe. Maybe because they're supreme. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, no shit. The first nightmare is gonna feel crazy because they could have died by a carapace scavenger. Like, they were so easy to get wiped out, which I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, no shit, you know? They're supreme now. They have their own domains. They're running the world. What are you talking about? It's not obvious. Hey, this kind of changes, though, with what happened in Volume 12, the way Sunny got slimed out in one shot, you know? That kind of changes that a little bit, because bro got looked, boom, dead. Murked. I saw someone say that they think that unholy god killed Sunny's shadow on purpose as a favor to Sunny because that shadow was corrupted. I think he might be tweaking. I'm not gonna lie. Couldn't necessarily Nephis take away his corruption? And would the unholy titan know that he's with Nephis and she can do that? Or unholy titan, unholy creature. I don't know. I don't know if that is true or not. But I think that guy might be reaching a little bit. This is another review of Shadow Slave about Volume 12. Another time skip. Volume 12 keeps jumping years while important moments get summarized. I agree again. Volume 12 is one of the ones that I definitely agree with most of the criticism on. Although I don't hate it, like a lot of people say, they do. They're like, oh, this shit's so ass. I don't think it's so ass. I just think it's done on purpose. So I'm going to let him cook with that one. I'm going to let him cook. This is another review of Shadow Slave, the end of the volume take. Most of the volumes repeated what we already knew. The underworld ending was good, but the fourth nightmare was awful. I agree. This is crazy. That's the 4 Shadow Slave reviews we're going to do this episode, and I agree with every single one of them. The last episode, I didn't agree with a single fucking one of them. So I'm agreeing with that one. I don't have anything to say about that just because I don't think most of the volume repeated what we already knew. Kind of. Like, there was a lot of that, but I don't think it was most of the volume, no. Just a little recap. Moving on to a review of Lord of the Mysteries, the classic pacing allegations. The first volume is really slow. I almost dropped it twice. The pacing can feel wonky even when the payoff is worth it. I think the payoff of volume 1 makes up for the slow pacing in the beginning, but that's just me personally. I can totally understand someone reading most of those world building chapters and being like, fuck, bro, what the fuck? Like, this shit is so slow. When's something gonna happen? But when something happens, it fucking happens quick. Like, the story jumps in and you're on for a roller coaster. And I think that's one of the good things about Lord of the Mysteries, though, that makes it unique, that makes it what it is today, is the payoff and how well you understand the world in the future volumes just because of the slow approach that Cuttlefish took with that. So I'm going to say he's talking out of his ass, okay? He's talking out of his ass because the payoff definitely makes the slow pacing worth it for me, okay? That's going to be the end of the review roulette section. Now we're going to move on to this. I'm going to pick 2 to 3 takes that I'm going to have to defend. Shadow Slave volume being summary heavy was actually the right choice. Okay, I'm going to defend this. I think it's a great idea that G3 had to summarize and skip over a lot of things in volume 12 so he can hurry up and rush to the next nightmare, because he's planning on ending the volume, the novel, within like 600 chapters from now. I'm pretty sure he's planning to end that, and he wants to move the story more towards the end. I think it's a good idea to summarize these they're not little, but compared to what's gonna happen after, I think these are gonna be minuscule compared to this 5th nightmare, compared to what comes after that. And to get this out of the way really quickly, to move on to that, I'm here for it. Boom! Defended take 1 right there. Okay, we might do 1 or 2 more of these. LOTM slow beginning is one of the biggest strengths. I just defended that a few seconds ago, so I'm going to skip that one. Red Rising killing EO that early was the only way the opening could work. I agree with that. I don't have to defend that. Mordred is more trustworthy than Cassie. Oh, fuck. Mordred is more trustworthy than Cassie. Is that true? No, absolutely not. I have to defend this take though. So I don't agree with this, but Mordred is more trustworthy than Cassie based off the fact that Mordred says what he's going to do and doesn't hide and manipulate and lie and do things behind the scenes to make it seem like he's going to do something else rather than what his plan is. He's not afraid to just come out and be like, I'm going to fucking murk you out in a little bit. Like, I think in volume 3, he was like, yeah, I'm going to fuck you guys up. Like, if I'm recalling correctly, he was telling Sonny straight to his face what he's going to do, you know? Whereas Cassie tried to get Sonny slimed out in the beginning of the first night, or the end of the first nightmare, you know, telling her his true name, unforgivable, you know, unforgivable. That's probably the best I can defend that take, because I love Cassie as a character. I don't think Mordred is more trustworthy, but I think that is the best way I can defend that take. That's a crazy take to defend, though. Oh my god. Okay, so now we're moving into the final segment of this week's episode. This is probably my favorite part. We're going 15 questions, rapid fire, quick, you know, no longer than a minute each one. And they're going to be pretty unhinged. So I don't know what. I haven't read these. You know, secret producer behind the scenes whipped these up for me. So if there's any weird bad ones, it's on bro. Question 1, Shadow Slave question. This spell gives you Question 1, a Shadow Slave question. The spell gives one character a new flaw. Every intrusive thought comes out of their mouth for 24 hours. That was basically how Sonny was in the beginning of the volume. Whose day are you watching? Nephis, Morgan, Mordred, or Jet? Give me Nephis, bro. I need more of Nephis. I need to see Nephis's intrusive thoughts. I feel like that can bring out a good side of her, because she's always so calm and calculated and says, like, you know, only time I've seen her not calm and calculated really was when Sonny told Nephis that he was the Lord of Shadows, and she went to Cassie's room and started freaking out. That was some of the funniest stuff I've seen from Nephis's character. Moving on to question number 2, another Shadow Slave question. G3 drops a completely uncensored POV novella tomorrow. Whose brain are you paying to live inside? Mordred, Nephis, Asterion, or Effie? I would love a Mordred one. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Mordred before all this, like when he was cool with Asterion, like back in the Diz, you know, like when he first got his flaw and it split him up. I would love a little side story of that. So I'd be down for that. I'd say Mordred for sure. Question 3, another Shadow Slave question. One character is forced into a reunion show lie detector. Who are you putting in the chair first? Cassie. Bro, I'm putting Cassie in there. I'm putting fucking Cassie in there for sure. She could be lying and no one knows but Kai. Question number 4, Shadow Slave. The cohort's private group chat gets leaked. Whose ends? Another Shadow Slave question. The cohort's private group chat gets leaked. Who ends the day with the most allegations? Effie, Mordred, Morgan, or Kai? Definitely Effie, bro. I feel like Effie's gonna be texting some crazy shit based off her little fucking weird jokes she be making, bro. She's definitely gonna have some crazy allegations. Maybe some cheating allegations on her husband. Who knows? Who fucking knows? Question number 5, Shadow Slave. One character has secretly been reading every fandom post about themselves for a year. Who crashes out the hardest? Cassie, Nephis, Asterion, or Mordred? I feel like this is like Love Island when they get to see like what USA is thinking about them. They're like, what the fuck? They're not loving me. I definitely think Asterion is not giving a fuck. Mordred don't give a fuck. I think Cassie might be the crash out, bro. Like, oh, what? No one loves me. What are you talking about? I love Cassie, but that's what I'm choosing. Lord of the Mysteries. Question 6, Lord of the Mysteries. You can hear one Tarot Club member's unfiltered thoughts for an entire meeting. Who are you choosing? Klein, Audrey, Alger, or Fours? I'm hearing Fours, bro. I feel like Fours got an imagination on her, so she might be like, yeah, like her thoughts would be more interesting to listen to. Whereas Audrey's probably just like breaking everyone down, you know how she does. I feel like the other two might just be so serious and so locked in. I need to hear Fours, bro. Or maybe Emlyn. You might be thinking about fucking a puppet. Question 7, Lord of the Mysteries. Somebody accidentally sends a voice note roasting the fool into the Tarot Club chat. Who would you most expect to do it? Definitely Emlyn, bro. I feel like everyone else is so like jaw dropped by Klein and the fool. So I don't think anyone else would do it, but I think Emlyn might, you know? Question number 8, the Shadow Slave question. The spell creates a public reputation attribute above everyone's head. Who has the most disrespectful number? Who is most likely to have a burner account defending themselves under every hate post? Mordred, Sunny, Effie, or Cassie? Bro, it's definitely gotta be Sunny. He's gonna be like, bro, what are you talking about, gang? I can totally see Sunny doing some shit like that, trying to defend himself. That is actually so funny. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Square pants. One of these people gets to write your public apology after you get canceled. Who are you trusting? Klein, Severo, Effie, or Sid? Oh, fuck no. Effie, bro? Hell nah. I cannot have Sid be doing that shit. He's just gonna be like, I was right. Or some shit. Some basic ass shit, bro. Expecting everyone to fall in line like his story. Severo? Nah, he talks too much shit, bro. I'm gonna have Klein do it. Klein is a good manipulator, bro. Klein is a good manipulator. One of these characters find out that they have a fandom and immediately start secretly running their own fan account. Who? Sid, Mordred, Emlyn, or Severo? Fuck, dude. I think it's gonna be Mordred, bro. He gets no... Actually, there's a lot of Mordred fans out there. I think Mordred... out of those people, I think Mordred is the one for sure. I think Mordred is that guy for that. A Red Rising question. Somebody at the Institute is secretly keeping a ranked shit list of everyone they hate. Whose list are you reading first? I'm reading Severo's, bro. 100% I'm reading Severo's. That is the GOAT. One Tarot Club member gets Twitter and is permanently unbearable within 48 hours. Who? Oh my god. It's definitely gotta be fucking Klein. No, I'm joking. It's not Klein. It's Emlyn, Fours, Alger, or Klein. I think Fours might be the one. I feel like Fours might have the most humor out of all of them, because there's not much humor in the Tarot Club so far now. You know, they're all so serious, because it's so serious in that world. It's so dark. So I understand why there's not much humor, but I definitely think Fours has the most imagination, and she's a writer, so she got to have some humor, you know? Oh, man. Man, oh, man. Episode 3. We're here. We're live. We did it. What am I most excited for to read and watch this next week? The Shadow Slave manhwa is probably what I'm most excited for. Definitely excited to read more into some Red Rising. That's probably going to be amazing, you know. Especially excited to get back into Lord of Mysteries. So I'm down to end it off right here. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, comment down below, follow the TikTok, follow the Twitter, follow the Instagram. We're everywhere. AfterLoom, baby. Let's get to it.